All
Do you
right,
have a
let's go.
document we want to see?
I'm just gonna read stuff to you.
Okay,
Okay.
let's do that.
Yeah. Just gonna... Hello?
Hello.
I said hello like I'm answering a phone. Hello?
Hello.
Anybody
Welcome
there?
to...
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Hi.
Cut that out.
Alright, okay. Hi. Welcome to the third episode of Soft Serve. Today, we're going to hand the baton over to Drake. Do you want to introduce our topic?
I thought you were gonna ask me to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Drake. I'm 23.
And hi, I'm Jen.
Hi, Jet. Hi, Drake.
And that's
Oh.
Kim.
Yeah.
I'm
Whatever.
pointing at you, but you can't see me.
Yes.
Yes. Today, on the third episode, it is my turn. I'm gonna do something a little bit different. Like, instead of kind of like introducing a topic, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm going to read you a story, specifically a murder story,
A moida.
A true
A
crime and
murder.
murder story.
Yes.
a true crime murder story.
Yes.
Because like, I just want to talk about murder.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this podcast, we sort of describe it as a horror comedy
Yes.
podcast. But
Yes.
I think today we're
I'm bringing
weighted
the
a lot more
horror.
towards the horror. Yeah. This is not a funny thing that we're talking about today.
I
Oh yeah,
may
yeah.
laugh,
We're not
but
like
not
yeah.
appropriately.
we're not making fun, like making jokes in the expense of the victims or the families.
Yeah.
But I am
That
gonna
is the
make
standard true crime podcast disclaimer.
that we don't think murder is funny. We just think we're funny.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or we laugh inappropriately because we don't know how else to verbally express
To react.
distress.
This is how we cope
Yes.
through laughing and humor.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like it, I don't know. Press the thumbs down. I don't know.
Thumbs down.
Okay. So today I'm going to be talking about the murder of Annie Leong Wai Mun. So I mean the official name is like the Anthony Ler case, but I didn't want to give the name to the killer. I wanted to give the victim like her name. Yeah. So the sources I took from mainly the Supreme Court document of the case, which was very fucking long, but I did it. Straits
Oh,
Times.
wow.
Wow.
An episode of True Files called Murder She Wrote.
Oh.
Have you heard of that show?
Murder She Wrote?
True Files.
No, True Files.
True Files.
Yeah.
Is it local?
It's like a Discovery Channel thing or something?
No, it was like a Channel 5 thing. It was like
Oh,
Crime
okay,
Watch,
it's a
but like
local-
nobody cared
yeah.
about it.
It was
I mean,
Crime
nobody
Watch,
cares
but
about Crime
kind
Watch,
of
but
better.
yeah. The episode is called Murder He Wrote, and like it's like a reenactment, and like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
kind of like they weren't being like exactly accurate to the case because like
But
I
you
watched
could find the
show.
episode and you could watch it? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's available online. So I watched the episode,
alright.
but then I checked the Supreme Court document like of the case, and then it's like there's some
Discrepancies.
embellishment on the show's part, but I guess it's a show.
Interesting.
Yeah, like they kind of paint like Anthony Ler as like a more violent and disturbing person. I mean, he is disturbing, but I think he's more
They
manipulative.
played it up. They played it up for the show.
Yeah, but he's definitely more manipulative and like vicious in nature, and you'll see. I also got information from our friend Wikipedia.
Yay!
And so before we start, like, Kim, do you have a recollection of this case happening? Like, when you were young, did you remember hearing about this case?
This has something to do with a guy murdering his wife and kind of like hiding it from the media. Something like that. It was like that kind
Yeah.
of bastard son-in-law kind of moment.
Mm.
Something around those lines.
Jed, do you
So,
have some-
like, what... Yeah, I remember this quite clearly, and I remember, like, the famous picture of him crying at his wife's funeral, like, crying over the casket.
Oh god.
And I have kind of like a weird, very, very peripheral kind of secondary connection to this. But we'll to the case. We'll probably mention that a little bit later.
saving it. Okay, yeah, sure.
Or do you want me to talk about it now?
Maybe like after I've given out all the whole story, then you
Yes.
can,
Okay.
yeah,
Then that's how it ties in. All right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's go ahead.
I mean, I have never heard of this. I just googled like Singapore murders.
Singapore murders.
Yeah, but okay. So Anthony Ler was born in 1967, and he was the youngest of three boys and a girl. Like, he did not have a happy childhood. His parents were divorced when he was young. He said he didn't get along with his siblings. Blah blah blah. I mean, like, there's no excuse for murder lah. So like, I'm just saying this for background. So I don't really give a fuck that he didn't get along with his siblings. He went to River Valley Primary School, and then Thompson Primary School, which is now North Vista Secondary School. It's a lot of information. He went to a polytechnic, but then he had to drop out after the first year because his dad was like, I don't want to pay for this. So
Yeah.
he dropped
That's
out.
quite a common occurrence
Yeah.
at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So Anthony then went to NS, and then he later signed on with the SAF, and he spent a total of 7 years, including his NS time in the military, and he rose to the rank of second sergeant. I don't know what second sergeant means. That term means nothing to me. Yeah. He resigned after 7 years, and then he tried to start a few businesses related to publishing and graphic design, and all of these businesses failed, and he turned to freelance photography and graphic design. I don't know like what age exactly he was at here. I'm assuming like he went to NS like when he was 18, and then came out after 7 years, and then it's like what, 25? Yeah, okay. But all these failed businesses and debt like caused a lot of financial troubles, and it will play a part in him deciding to murder his wife, Annie Leong Wai Mun. I'm not sure if it's Mun or Man because it's M-U-N. I hope I didn't butcher that. Like M-U-N.
Maybe it's Wai Mun.
Wai
Yeah.
Mun. Okay, I'm gonna say Wai Man from now. Okay, so
Alright, yeah.
let's talk about their relationship. I couldn't find a lot of information about Annie. I know that she was born in 1971. So when she was 15, around 1986, she met her future husband Anthony, who she will marry and then he will kill. They met in a church.
Yeah.
She was 15, he was 19.
Okay.
Okay, they didn't. At first I was like, oh fuck, but they didn't get into a relationship right away. Because they got married in 1995, and then they were together for 5 years. So like, they got together like when he was 23, she was 19, and then they got married when he was 28 and she was 24. I mean, still quite young.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I
yeah.
being confusing?
No.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Okay. It's like so they've known each other for almost 10 years before they got married lah. And in 1997, Annie gave birth to their daughter Evelyn, on April 13, 1997. So like,
This is close
the
to your
daughter-
birthday.
yeah, she's just like a few days younger than me, and like,
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah, and like, her mom died like when I found out her mom died like when she was 4 and I was 4, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I was like fucking around in the playground, and then wow, mom got murdered, and I felt really bad. But this is not about me, so
But it kind of puts it in perspective, right?
Yeah.
it does, and I feel
Yeah.
bad for her. But anyway, yeah. Annie originally worked in a bank as an accounts executive, so like, good money. But she later left because so that she could help Anthony start up a business. But in 1998, she went back to work in an insurance company, which it says it's so that she could get some financial freedom and independence. But I also think like Anthony was failing in providing for the family, so she had to do it. Yeah. So like,
Financial crisis years also.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So she was everything you're gonna hear, like she's amazing. She really deserves so much more. Then this major dickhead, and like the more I did research on this, the more I was like mad for her. But
Then
let's
she got like a bad deal.
yeah. Okay, let's get to that. In the same year their daughter was born, in 1997, this fucking asshole, Anthony, started having an affair with a woman called Belinda.
Oh.
Okay,
God.
I didn't. I vaguely remember that there was like infidelity, but I didn't know it was like an affair.
It was a full-on, oh my god. But like Belinda at first didn't know that he was married and had a newborn, but then like she found out, and then they stayed together for 3.5 years. And at one point, Belinda
God.
fucking moved in with Anthony and Annie and Evelyn.
Oh.
So there's like a menage a trois
Yeah.
with the child involved.
Exactly.
So-
Exactly.
That's not good.
They were basically
Yeah.
fucking right under Annie's nose. Yeah.
Oh, no.
So
And the kid is there too.
the kid is there. Yeah.
No.
So at some point, I mean,
Like it.
yeah, I don't know how you this asshole thought he could hide an affair with your wife and mistress living in the same fucking house, but he's just that delirious, I guess. But and he did find out, and then in October of 1999, she moved in with her mom. Like she left Anthony with Evelyn, and she moved in with her mom. So at this point, Anthony would just be living with Belinda, and then
Were they like officially divorced by this point?
Not yet, not yet. They were just like separated. Annie just kind of like, fuck this shit. I'm gonna take the kid and I'm gonna move in with my mom. Like, fuck you, like the kind of shit. Yeah. Belinda later would say in court that he was abusive to her. So that's just another layer of asshole lah. basically.
Figures.
Yeah. So in the year 2000, Anthony started having another affair with a woman called Marilyn.
Oh.
Yeah.
So is he still with Belinda at this point?
I because they got together in 1997, they were together for 3.5 years. So I'm thinking, when he met Marilyn, like he was
He
probably
left Belinda for Marilyn.
like could have been like just recently split up or like towards the end of that relationship. Like I can't like
I
we
see.
don't really know. It's just conjecture at this point. Yeah, but this
Okay,
relationship with Marilyn started out just purely sexual, but then out of nowhere he was like, "Hey, we fuck quite well together. You want to start a business?"
What?
Yeah, and then she said, "Yeah, that makes sense. Okay." So they did,
That makes perfect sense.
and the business failed.
Success win lifestyle.
Figures.
All it didn't work. The business failed. They both
Oh.
ended up in a lot of debt, and then the relationship was over because of it. Yeah, okay. So there is a lot more information on the Supreme Court document about this affair, but essentially Anthony was manipulating her throughout the relationship, he lied to her, telling her he was getting a divorce. He convinced her to borrow thousands and thousands of dollars from relatives to start that business with him. Blah blah blah. But this whole story is not about that relationship, but I just wanted to point out how manipulative he actually is, because I'm sure that he also pulled similar shit with Belinda that made her they made her forgive him in the first place.
Mhm.
So where am I? Okay.
Now I'm kind of I'm googling this guy, his pictures of him, and I don't know, it's just this, he looks very like Stephen Lim.
Oh my
Oh
god.
no.
If they make a movie, he should
Now
play.
we know how to cast in the biopic.
Cast him in the
Yeah.
biopic, and
Stephen Lim has done some acting, right? He's done some Crime Watch reenactment stuff.
I'm sure
Yeah.
he can act. He's multi-talented.
yeah. He's Singapore's #1 superstar.
and
Yeah,
in
he
the
has
pictures
all the skills.
where he's
Yeah.
getting arrested, he's smiling and everything.
Oh yeah, I'll get to that later. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was one of the things as well, is that he vacillated between smiling and being confident and then crying at his wife's funeral, and that was one of the main things that the press kind of focused on. What's up with this guy?
Yeah.
It's like he's hiding something, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So in August of 2000, I almost said 2020. No, this was 20 years ago. In August
20 years ago.
of 2000, Anthony was very close to filing for bankruptcy, and because of a failed publishing business, it might have been
With his second mistress.
Yeah, it might have been that. I can't be sure, but the timeline seems about right. He then tried to commit suicide by overdosing on sleeping pills, and he ended up in the hospital. And
Okay. So this is 2000.
yeah, and Annie, bless her soul, came back and helped him. Like,
Why?
Oh my god.
yeah,
No.
After 2 mistresses, his wife comes back and helps this guy.
exactly.
This is like-
exactly.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't know.
this gets worse and worse, doesn't it?
Oh no.
like she she truly did not deserve any of this shit. Like I mean, nobody does, obviously,
Yeah,
but like
but especially not her, I guess.
yeah, she was. Oh, okay. Anyway,
After all of
Um,
this.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony thought that this was a sign that their marriage could be saved, but then in February 2001, Annie was like, nah, and then she filed for a divorce.
So they remarried?
No. They were just separated
She's
at
just
that
like,
point, but they
"Meh."
haven't gone through the
I see.
divorce
Okay,
proceedings.
okay.
Yeah, and then when he tried to kill
So
himself,
they were separated for 2 years?
there was about a year,
Okay. Yeah.
almost a year. Yeah. Yeah, and then when she came back, like when he tried to kill himself, he thought like, oh, you know, she still loves me, we can still do this. But then a few months later, she was just like, divorce.
Divorce now.
Yeah.
I
So Anthony at this point, he's still in a lot of debt, and he was trying to sell his house. So like his whole financial situation would have made it much more difficult for him to gain custody of their daughter. So he thought, like, naturally somehow, that was his thought process. He thought if Annie was out of the picture, he could gain the full ownership of their house, which when he sells, he could pay off all of his debts, and then he would get full custody of their daughter. So like win-win-win, like that's what he was thinking. So that's when he began the plan to kill Annie.
Okay.
Yeah. So between February and April of 2001, Anthony befriended a group of teenage boys.
What
Like,
the
this-
What
Yeah.
the
So he
fuck
formed like a
is
gang,
this
right? Yeah.
harebrained scheme?
So basically, like, there was this group of teenage boys who like to hang out at a McDonald's at Pasir Ris Drive, and one of these boys, whose identity is protected. So you guys want to give me a
Until
name?
now.
Let's call him Abi.
Abi.
Yeah.
Okay, let's call him Abi.
Abi.
So
Yeah.
Abi was 15, and he was Anthony's neighbor a few years back, so they kind of knew each other. So it's very easy for Anthony just to be like, hey, hi, remember me, blah 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 blah. So Abi would actually be the one to actually kill Annie, but we will go to that. So Abi's friends were, I hope I don't butcher the names, Vigneswaran Krishnan. He was 17.
So their identities are public.
Yeah, these names are public except for Abi.
Because he was
He was the
15
one.
at the time.
Yeah, he was 15 at the time, and he was the only one actually involved in doing the killing.
The thing is, like, I feel
see,
like
okay.
people, if they knew the rest of the friends, they can kind of
You could triangulate
triangulate
it.
who it might
Yeah.
have been, though.
Yeah, but it was like a gag order, so like I guess like the reporters, like the news outlets couldn't release his name. The court documents don't have his name, that kind of stuff. So like obviously some, like, a lot of people would know, but like I didn't. I couldn't find anything. Yeah. So, okay, yeah. Vigneswaran Krishnan, 17. Xia Zihao, he was the oldest, he was 22. Gavin Ng Jinwei, he was 16. And 19-year-old Kong Ka Cheong. Yeah. Anthony would start meeting these boys often, like quite often. He would bring along his dog, which isn't really relevant. I just wanted to mention there was a Pomeranian dog. And
Oh, there's a Pomeranian. Okay, but I
Oh.
think maybe it was like bringing the dog made it more of a social gathering.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like it
made
put
him look
everyone's guard
friendly,
down a bit,
like
yeah.
human
Yeah,
being.
like he can't be up to anything bad. He's got his dog here.
yeah, so he's there, like, holding his dog, like sitting in a McDonald's with a bunch of teenage boys.
Isn't there
And then-
something a little strange about that already? Like, just the concept of it.
Yeah, like, just
Of like he's
just
forming
picture
his
that.
own gang.
Yeah, just picture that, and then he would eventually start talking about murder.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Yeah,
like this
yeah.
entrepreneur, success wingman who hasn't been able
Yeah.
to start his publishing business, holding his dog, approaching like a bunch of teenagers in the McDonald's and being friends with them, and suddenly,
And then being like, hey, murder?
hey, do you wanna
Eventually, that's
kill
the end point,
somebody?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So like he basically asked them if they would dare to kill someone, and these kids were just like, oh, like they thought he was joking. So
As a hypothetical, yeah.
yeah. So they replied like, for how much? Someone suggested $100,000, and then he was like, yeah, okay, sure, yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
thought you were
Yeah.
broke.
Yeah. I thought he was bankrupt.
I thought he was bankrupt. Where does he get what? Oh.
He was almost back. Yeah, but yeah. Also, like,
From whence did this money come from?
I went to search, like, in 2001, $100,000 in today's money would be 146,000.
Okay, with inflation.
Inflation.
What's inflation? Inflection.
Yeah. So from February he's like hanging out with them very often, right? Like almost every day kind of a thing. And in April, like he's slowly like ramping up like his intentions and shit, like very creepily, but very steadily. So in April he's at this point he's becoming more and more upfront. So every single time they met, he would bring up the subject of killing his wife. Like,
Oh my god. So it became like a normal topic of conversation.
for him. Everyone else
Yeah,
was
yeah.
very fucking uncomfortable. But yeah.
I would bet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he would complain that he hated her for not allowing him to visit their daughter more frequently, which I believe was a lie. Like, because like the more research I did, like the way he tried to kill the wife, like this was a lie. Like the wife was very happy to bring the daughter down to see him all the time. He would show them her picture, like just like crazy shit. Yeah. And
Oh god.
one of the friends like said like in court, like he thought Anthony was just crazy or something like that.
Oh, oh
So
gosh,
he was
this
like
reminds me of that.
normalizing the idea.
He was trying to normalize it, but everyone else was like a bit uncomfortable and creeped out. But I guess in a sense, like it did seep in like the comfortability, because like they expected him to talk about it, and like they're like used to him talking about it, that kind of thing. But like they knew like very much like this was weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Kim, you were saying something?
Oh, I was gonna say this is like prototype MGTOW men's right activist angry ranting.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah. Like he was definitely not the victim.
Yeah.
Like he was the one, he was the one who had like multiple affairs that led Annie to like take the daughter away, that kind of thing.
And the woman like came back to help.
Yeah, and she came back to help you like when you didn't deserve any kind of help, and she came back anyway, and like somehow like he still only thought about himself. Which is like a common thing, like when you like read about murders, when you like watch like murder shows, like they all like have this kind of like this is the common trait.
Like at this point when he's kind of like ramping up the intensity of these conversations with these guys, I don't know, do you think like the anger is genuine, or is he just kind of like trying
Putting
to
it on.
normalize it? And so it because it's so unusual, like it's like that he's playing a long con with like a bunch of teenagers to do the murder for him, and it's like a few of them, like not just like one of them. I mean, if you convince one of them to actually do the murder themselves, then the rest of them can like testify against you. You'll be in trouble either way. Either way, I just don't think this was like this was a very bad, harebrained, badly planned murder scheme. And murder is not right, and we should never find a right way to do it. But if you're talking on the ability of foresight, this just seems like evidence of like I don't know, I don't know, like, yeah, I don't think you're cut out for schemes or just planning in general. I guess that's why the whole business thing isn't working out for you.
Like he just doesn't have the balls to do it himself, so he tries to like push teenagers into doing it for him.
Yeah.
So he's like very manipulative, but he's also
He's
not
a
criminal mastermind.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
That is
not
what
like a
is kind of
violent
interesting.
sociopath or anything.
Yeah, that's what's kind of interesting about him. And then you were saying that the True Files reenactment kind of cast him more as a violent sociopath, because I think they played that up for TV.
Yeah, but from what I read, he's not like a violent person. Like he definitely has a lot of issues, and he has a lot of, like, he's very fucking creepy, as like you will see later
for
on,
sure.
but he's not like very violent, like as they say he was. Yeah. Da, 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 da. Okay, he asked them if they would be daring enough to do it for $100,000, or if they knew anyone who did. He said he would get the money from selling his house. Yeah.
Okay, so
that-
that was his
yeah.
justification even after he was broke.
Yeah, so that's his thought process. Like, the house isn't even sold yet, and he's like, "I'll give you $100,000."
Boy,
And yeah. At this point, the boys like still kind of think he's like they either think he's joking or he's just completely insane. Like, they didn't take it seriously, basically. But and like, I don't blame them, because yeah, like at that point, like, who really would? Yeah. Okay, but anyway, so one of the boys, the oldest of the group, Zihao, he was directly offered the $100,000 for the murder of Annie, and still thinking that this was some kind of sick joke, Zihao suggested Anthony to just hire a hitman. And Anthony, this 34-year-old, asked a 22-year-old to find a hitman for him.
So he's like outsourcing the outsourcing,
Outsourcing.
It's just like dumbest fucking shit.
Incompetent success wingman all the way.
Like, it's very obvious, like, why his businesses failed, because he just sucked at planning shit. He doesn't know what he's doing for anything. Yeah.
And I mean, like, I don't want to kind of jump to conclusions or even begin to cast him in a sympathetic light, but I feel like this is kind of, the collapse of the Singapore dream, I guess you could frame it in that way. It's like he thought that by this time all of these things would be successful, and then it hasn't worked out for him, and in his mind, like, his warped kind of thinking, the only recourse is murder.
Yeah.
So this is like the dark kind of end point of believing that wholesale.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Zihao, like, he still thought this was a joke. Was like, yeah, sure, whatever. But then unexpectedly, Anthony started calling Zihao for the next 2 days to ask if he had found a hitman. So now at this point, Zihao was like,
he's
something's not
in
right
it.
here.
He's already in it.
Yeah, Zihao was like, something's not right here. But then eventually he would just tell Anthony he could not find anyone. Like, please leave me alone. Like, how would I fucking know where a hitman would be? Yeah. So on 9th of May 2001, Anthony approached Abi and another boy. It was Abi, right?
Yeah.
Which was Abi. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anthony
the main guy. The guy actually did it. Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony approached Abi and another boy from the group, Gavin. He said, like, he talked about his intentions again. Like, he told them killing Annie would be easy. All they have to do was come up to her and slit her throat. Like, was what he said.
Dear Lord.
Oh
And
my
it-
god.
it's
How
so-
old were these boys again?
Abi was
15,
15. Gavin was 16. Wait. Yeah, Gavin was 16.
Oh, that
can
is
you imagine?
Sec 3.
Sec 3
Yeah.
and Sec 4.
Sec 3
Yeah.
and Sec 4, like, committing cold-blooded murder.
Yeah. Yeah. He told them about his detailed plan, which included buying gloves to avoid fingerprints and to take Annie's wallet to make it seem like a robbery, blah blah blah. He told them that he would do it himself, but he would be the top suspect, so he wanted someone else to do it.
It worked out very well for him in the end.
Yeah. He preferred Gavin, and Abi later said he felt jealous because he preferred Gavin. Like, even
Oh
though
my
he
god.
knew.
So there was
like, he,
already
like-
this, like, kind of like cult leader thing going on.
Yeah.
A bit,
Like,
yes.
you want to be the
So
favorite.
Yeah.
Dynamic.
That's why I said, yeah. At one point when Abi and Anthony were alone, Abi asked Anthony, like, how come like you didn't choose me, you chose him instead? And Anthony said, because Gavin is more stable and daring. So, like, obviously, like, this like
So
hurt
it's
a
a
15-year-old's
competition,
ego lah.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
So, like,
want to be the
obviously-
chosen murder guy.
Yeah,
Why am I
obviously-
not the chosen murder guy?
Yeah, like, obviously he didn't want to murder, but like he just didn't, like, he just felt hurt lah. So Anthony then took Gavin to his house. He opened the kitchen drawer and just showed him like a collection of knives he thought was suitable for killing.
The fuck?
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Then in the living room, Anthony showed Gavin, like, I don't know why he had so many knives. Like, he's like preparing for this entire life. But Anthony showed Gavin like a black Japanese knife, and he told Gavin to cut a newspaper with it.
This is not Kill Bill.
So this was kind of like, I'm imagining like a infomercial, like, you know, like demonstration. You cut the newspaper with the knife, and is it? But wait, there's more. Yeah.
Yeah. Gavin would later testify in court to say that, quote, he told me the skin of the neck was as thin as the newspaper. Was what he said. Is that true? Actually, I didn't check.
I'm not gonna go and test
find
it
that
out.
I mean, I don't think so, but it's also like really chilling.
Let's just
thing
say
to
it's not. Yeah.
It is like, yeah. I think a lot of this is trying to kind of like downplay the consequence of actual literal murder. Is equating murder to more mundane things.
It's grooming.
Yeah, it's grooming, but for murder.
Yeah. At one point, Anthony just wrapped a bolster in newspaper and told Gavin to slash it.
That is so frightening.
It is. Gavin, at this point, obviously, he was like, okay, something's fucking wrong here. I think he's serious about doing this.
Yeah.
And then he left. I think it was either that night or the next day, Gavin had like a family barbecue, and then he invited Abi so that he could warn Abi about this whole thing. And he did. Like, Abi came to his house, and then they talked. Like, he told Abi, like, I think he's serious. Like, if he asks you, don't fucking do it. Like, don't fucking kill someone. Yeah. So Abi agreed, and then he left. He left Gavin. Like, Gavin stayed at home, and then Abi went to McDonald's to join his other friends, which was Vic and Kachong. Zihao, I don't know where he went. I think he was just freaked out and just didn't want to show up anymore.
Yeah.
So Anthony was also there.
Oh, fuck.
He was just constantly everywhere. So
oh no.
Yeah, so they were just hanging
Find
out
another
there.
McDonald's, guys. Oh no.
Yeah.
There's so many McDonald's. Just go to another one. Oh my god. Pasir Ris
Maybe
has so
not
many.
then. Maybe back then not many.
2001.
Maybe because they all live in the east. That was.
I'm sure like Pasir Ris it's like near like downtown east, right? Just go to the downtown east one. I think they had it then.
Yeah.
I think they had a Taco Bell.
But if they live in the east, they could have they wouldn't want to go all the way to King Albert Park or what, you know.
This is the kind of content that you're looking for in your podcast that covers true crime. Which McDonald's could have been an alternative McDonald's?
I'm so scared. Like at this point of the story, oh shit, Anthony is there. He just left the barbecue, and then Anthony is there, and then no, and then
and it's like he's there because he's
the youngest, is it amongst?
He was the youngest.
Abi is the youngest.
Oh, that's horrible.
He was the youngest. Exactly, he was the easiest target to manipulate.
So okay, like, not to make light of it or anything, but this kind of him hovering, it kind of sounds like when somebody commissions you for art. It's like, done already or not? Done yet?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So it's like
I'm gonna commission you to find a hitman for me.
Yeah, have find already or not? Kill already or not?
Yeah. Okay, so while they were hanging out, Gavin called Abi and asked if he could like tell Anthony that to confirm like Gavin doesn't want to do the job. So Abi waited until he was alone with Anthony, and he told him Gavin said he didn't want to do the job. So at this point, Anthony just asked him like he would like to do it instead. And he casually brought up, like, remember earlier when Abi was like, why you never chose me? Like, I felt like Anthony like could tell that Abi was like a bit jealous and like was a bit hurt. So he used that against Abi and was like, you asked why not you, now it's you.
Oh no.
Okay? Yeah. Manipulative shit. And so Z told him, quote, anything.
Oh my god. So by now he's already like wormed his way into this kid's brain.
Exactly. Yeah. So there were a total of 3 attempts to kill Annie. So I'm gonna go through one by one.
What?
This is very long. There were 3 attempts.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So the first attempt was on 10th of May 2001. Anthony told Abi to meet him earlier in the day like at the 5th floor of Annie's block. So Annie lived on the 4th floor. They met on the 5th floor. So when Abi came out of the lift at the 5th floor, Anthony came up from behind, covered his mouth, and moved a finger across his throat, telling him, quote, "See? So simple." Which
Oh
is
my god.
fucking creepy. Like,
Oh god.
ugh. Like it's not like exactly violent, but it was like it's creepy. So, later that night, Abi waited for Annie at her void deck. Anthony had given him a description of Annie as, quote, long straight hair but was not pretty, which was fucking insulting to me.
What? About his own wife.
Oh.
Exactly.
Point,
like she
it
gave
isn't much
you,
better if he does describe her as pretty, I guess.
You just
Yeah, she gave you the best years of her life, and then you were just like, all you can give is long straight hair but not pretty. Like,
and murder.
tibai.
And murder, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so Kim, you were saying something?
Oh no, I was just continuously saying, oh no, oh no.
Oh.
Just
You're right. Okay. Abi then saw a woman getting out of a taxi that matched the lame ass description given by Anthony. Like she was also carrying the white.
I'm imagining
purse.
that the court documents say lame ass description.
Oh no, I added that in myself.
So for someone who was running a graphic design company attempting to and some sort of a publishing company, he was not only not good at planning things, did not have any foresight on where to resource like material. He was also really shit at giving visual descriptions.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
all around fail. He's a zero threat.
my
Except in this case, I'm sorry. What the fuck? Where was I?
This is the part where we giggle because we're nervous. As
okay,
promised in
okay.
the introduction.
Abi saw a woman getting out of the taxi that matched the lame ass description given by Anthony. She was also carrying the white purse that he described. So the plan was when the woman goes into the lift, like Abi will run up the stairs to the 4th floor. Yeah, to get to the woman. So like, this like, yeah, like you know what I mean. Yeah. So he saw her getting into the lift, so he immediately started running up. He putting on a helmet he stole, and a pair of gloves while he ran. But by the time Abi reached the 4th floor, he had lost the woman. So the woman was Annie, and but at this point, like, he was like, he just didn't get, he lost her lah. So he went back to the ground floor and he called Anthony, and then Anthony, like a few minutes later, called again and said he called Annie. He was gonna meet her at a coffee shop, so go back up to like the 5th floor and wait. So Abi went back up, and he saw Annie walking towards the lift with Evelyn, who was like 4 years old at the time.
Oh.
So this is why I said Anthony was lying earlier when he said like he couldn't see
Oh my
his daughter as much as he wanted to, because like if you can just call, like all he had to do was call, and Annie would bring the daughter to him.
So let's be honest here. All he wanted was the flat.
Yeah, like he was like making shit, like he would do anything to fix the problem, except the problem was himself.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
anyway, okay, they got into the lift. Abi ran downstairs again. He actually catches up to Annie, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. Like especially because like there was a child right there. So he was just like, okay, I can't do it, and he returned to the playground. I don't know why he didn't just go home, but he waited there. And half an hour later, Anthony called and told him that Annie was coming back, and he told him to carry out the attack even if the daughter was there. So he was very happy to
Oh my God.
traumatize his fucking daughter.
Oh my
Who
god.
was at this point like, what, 4 years old?
Yes.
She a baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
The same age as the both of you, right? Would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, Evelyn would have just turned for like a month, like less than a month before. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But then Abi, like, he really didn't want to do it, like, because when Anthony called, like, Annie was already walking back to the house, and Abi, like, he didn't want to do it, so he, like, walked really slowly to the block, and then by the time he got there, he saw the lift was going up, and then he ran upstairs, saw Annie and Evelyn walking towards their home, and then was just like, you know what, never mind, and then he just left.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was the first attempt, which, yeah. The second attempt was the next day on 11th May. They met in Anthony's house, where Abi asked Anthony if he could, like, change the knife he was using. Anthony then gave him a steak knife, but would wrap it in newspaper so that he could keep Abi from cutting himself when he puts it in his waistband.
Huh?
Does that make sense?
But doesn't the knife cut through paper?
That wouldn't work?
Well, yeah. I mean, but he didn't get hurt. Like, he didn't cut him. But, like, just remember this newspaper bit.
All right.
Yeah.
Put a pin
So
in the
he-
newspaper.
Anthony gave Abi a
steak knife
to murder
wrapped in-
his wife.
Yeah. And he wrapped the knife in newspaper before giving it to Abi.
Oh, stupid.
Yeah. So they tried to reenact the same plan again. Anthony called Annie to meet at the coffee shop, while Abi waited.
Yeah, no, you had no problem seeing your daughter, sir.
Yep. But this time, Abi was, like, having, like, a lot of second thoughts, so he didn't wait at
As
the block.
one would, especially
yeah.
at 15.
Exactly. And then he just waited at the playground, and he wasn't, like, really paying attention for Annie. He at one point actually walked to the car park. Like, he left, like, the helmet he stole on a random motorcycle, and he walked back to the playground. Like, at that point he was like, okay, I'm not gonna do it. But he still doesn't leave. Like, he still didn't go home. But like, he didn't go home, but he just intentionally misses Annie and Evelyn. Yeah. So at this point, sorry, I got lost. So many words. Abi told Anthony, like, at the end of the night when he failed, that he wanted to back out of the plan. But then Anthony started pulling out, like, the manipulative tactics again. Like, he was telling him how $100,000 was very easy money for a few seconds of work. Blah blah blah.
Oh my
Like,
God.
What the shit?
Yeah, don't Anthony just, like, pretend it's like $2,000, like pretend like it's $2,000 like every month, like, very good income, you will earn more than in NS, that kind of bullshit
Oh my
lah.
God, this almost
my
sounds like,
God.
hello, my name is name redacted so that we don't get sued. An ad you would get before your YouTube video. Would you like to murder my wife? Because that's the same kind of language he's using.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. So being young and impressionable and thinking, like, okay, yeah, because, like, this was also like close to after the financial crisis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3
so
years, 3 years after.
yeah, so, like, obviously, like, Abi would have known, like, something about that, and he was like, okay, like, there is good money in this, and because
You'll help your
Anthony, like,
family.
assured him so much that nothing will happen, like, if he just went along with his plan.
And it's also, as a 15-year-old, if someone's giving you $100,000, like, that's
yeah,
a big deal.
and
right?
told you, like you will not get in trouble.
And told
Very
Guaranteed.
you.
confident.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah.
And also, he's kind of, like, built this whole narrative about his wife being this evil person who won't let him see the kid. And
Exactly.
also, he tells
They've, like,
the kid
bonded
that
over it
murder
and
is so easy. It's like ripping a newspaper with a knife.
Yeah. Yeah. So after all this manipulation, Abi again agrees, but he was still having a bit of second thought.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on 13th of May, Abi, for some reason, he asked Anthony if he could have the black Japanese knife at his house. Like, I think he just liked that knife. So, like, yeah. So Anthony agreed. He gave the knife to him and said that since he took the knife, he now had to kill his wife. Like, no more backing up.
Yeah.
Oh my
This is
I
it.
give you knife. Yeah, I give you knife. You must kill wife.
This
This
is
is not Kill Bill.
I'm sorry. I didn't write
So
that down. It just came out of my
sad.
mouth. Okay.
Yeah.
This is so sad. Holy crap.
Abi at the point was like, okay, well, if I don't kill her, I can return it to you. And then Anthony just very casually replied, in that case, I will kill you with this knife.
To him?
Oh.
To Abi?
To Abi.
He said he would kill Abi.
If you
He would
didn't
kill Abi with that knife if
No.
Abi didn't kill Annie. So
Then
now,
why
so
can't
now,
he kill Annie
yeah.
himself?
So now, on top of all the manipulation, Abi is now also afraid of his life, lah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I think like he didn't say it in like a angry like true files like when Abi felt like in the show, Anthony would be like explosive and angry, but
Threatening
from
him,
the
yeah.
but from the court documents, like he was just calm and manipulative, and when he said, "Then I will kill you with this knife," like he said it like calmly, very creepy and disturbing. Yeah.
That is probably scarier than what they went with in the show.
Yeah, if he's calm.
Yeah. Yeah. So on 14th of May 2001 at 11:30 p.m., Anthony, Annie, and Evelyn met at the playground. Anthony this time brought a few papers for Annie to sign, but he didn't bring a pen. So he told her to go up to the house to get a pen, while Anthony and Avery stayed at the playground. So when Annie reached the 4th floor, she walked out of the lift. She was immediately attacked. Abby covered her mouth with a red cloth, slashed her in the neck, and stabbed her in the chest. And then he immediately fled the scene.
So at this point, he's done it.
He's done it.
Yeah.
Oh
and he ran off. Annie's mother, upon hearing screaming, opened the door to find Annie. Annie was still conscious. She was running down the corridor, and she was telling her that she got stabbed and to call the police. And then she collapsed into her mother's arms. And
my
then
God.
her brother then called the police. And Anthony, upon hearing the screaming, went up with Avery to find Annie severely injured. He pretends to be in shock. He held Annie while instructing the mother to get towels to stop the bleeding. He also repeatedly told Annie not to close her eyes and sleep while calling her name and tapping her face.
Oh my God.
So at this point, like, she would have
She
thought
was
some
unconscious.
random guy went and murdered her.
Like nobody would have thought it was him.
Yeah. So
Because he was
Annie's
very convincing. Yeah.
Annie's sort of like last thoughts as she's alive is that some random person killed me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It might have. I mean, like
would she have
he
realized
was
that it
calling
was
her
him?
down at night so often, like she might have thought like it was a bit weird, like
Right,
but
yeah.
like we really don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my God. She didn't deserve any of this.
Yeah.
That is.
But at least she
Horrible.
didn't get to see Anthony like put up this farce
Yeah.
of
And
being
the
in shock and
daughter
shit.
didn't see it, right?
No, the daughter was there. Okay. Anthony called out her name, tapped the face. She did not respond. Okay. This fucking asshole. He even went along with the ambulance to the hospital, and this part, like, I mean, everything like made me angry, but especially this part, it made me like fume because ambulances only allow one person aside from the patient to ride to the hospital.
Oh.
So this guy, the guy who plotted to kill her, took that space while her parents had to go to the hospital separately, and they weren't there when she died.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
God. That's awful.
So it's like it adds to the kind of heartache of it.
Exactly, like he killed her and then had the audacity to ride the ambulance where one of her family members could have at least said goodbye. You know, it's like, it's absolutely evil and despicable and yeah. Annie Leong Wai Mun was declared dead on the midnight of 15th May 2001 at Tan Tock Seng Hospital from acute hemorrhage due to stab wounds of heart and lung. She was 30 years old. So at the funeral, this dipshit decided to talk to a reporter. This is where Jed mentioned that he cried on the coffin, like that thing.
Yeah, at the funeral.
yeah, he thought he told the reporter he was a bad husband. He called himself the devil while Annie was an angel, which I guess was not wrong. And
Oh my god. It's so melodramatic.
it's very melodramatic. And he said like they had a wonderful relationship even though they were going through a lot. And then when asked about him being a possible suspect, he said he didn't care and insisted that he was innocent, he was being framed. Like he was at this point he was just like a possible suspect. But then he was there being like, I'm being framed, like that kind of bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he was painting himself as the victim when his dead fucking wife was in the fucking coffin like right next to him.
That is scary.
Yeah. He said, and I quote, he said and quote, what if I did not ask her down? What if I had brought a pen? What if I had gone up with her? 1,000 what ifs, but one reality, she's gone. End quote.
Oh my god. What a shitty man.
What a
shitty
horrible
fucking man. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
And it's
So-
like he wrote a script and everything.
Exactly. Like he planned out everything he wanted, like the image he wanted to put out, the things he wanted to say. Just fucking evil. Yeah. So the police immediately began their investigations at the crime scene, like the moment she collapsed. And they combed the block of flats, like plus the surrounding areas. They did not find any weapons, but did find a newspaper wrapped in a rectangular shape. It was the front page of the newspaper. It was the front page of the new paper dated 23rd of April 2001.
The new paper now no longer in print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was in the before times.
Yeah.
So
Remember
after,
Streets? There was a newspaper called Streets that was free. Or was that? Are you too young?
I have never heard of it.
I've not
It's
heard
okay.
of it,
That's a sidebar.
So after Annie was declared dead, Anthony was questioned by the police and he immediately denied any involvement in the murder. Then on 16th of May 2001, like the next day, like after he told them he wasn't involved, the police conducted a search at Anthony's house, and in the living room they found a stack of newspapers. And on top of the pile was the copy of the new paper with the date, you guessed it, 23rd of April 2001, with the front page missing.
So this was the smoking gun.
This was one of the smoking guns.
Okay.
Yeah. On 17th of May,
Criminal mastermind.
yeah, so like the next day, like they took the newspapers, they took a lot of other stuff as well, and they went back and they investigated. And so Anthony at this point, like he wasn't arrested yet, they don't have enough proof to arrest him, so he was still staying at home. But he believed that while the police were there, like they bugged his house or something, like he started becoming paranoid. So the next day when Abi went to Anthony's house, he turned on his computer and used Microsoft Word to talk to Abi. So like he would just open Microsoft Word document and then he would just like type out the things he wanted to say, and then Abi would type back. And then
How are they typing in Microsoft Word at the same time?
like he would type something and then like Abi would read it and then Abi would type and then he would read it.
Oh, okay.
Make sense?
I mean, I didn't know you could do that with Word.
Oh no,
I guess you
like
can.
it's probably like the same document and they take turns.
It's the same document. Like Abi went to Anthony's house.
Oh, okay. So it's not
Yeah, yeah.
sent. It's not like email. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah. They even did like Anthony even like wrote down like on the document that was like, okay, say this after I say this. So Anthony would say out loud like somebody killed my wife. I was talking to the police earlier, and then
Script is bad on this
Abi-
one.
yeah, Abi would be like, oh, what happened? I'm so sorry. That kind of bullshit lah. Yeah. So that Word document, like he deleted the text, deleted the entire file, but forensic experts were able to retrieve them, and they used it as evidence against him.
So was his house
So they got
bugged?
the Microsoft Word.
They got the document, like everything he typed.
Oh, so Kim was asking, was his house bugged? As in, did they like physically
No.
bug the house? No, right? Yeah.
Oh
No,
no.
he basically screwed himself over.
Yeah. So it wasn't.
Dumbass.
Yeah. So he tried to delete it, but they found it, and this is like basically an entire document filled with confessions to the murder.
Exactly.
So if
Yeah.
he hadn't done that Word document thing,
Yeah.
well, he probably still wouldn't have gotten away with it. But like,
He wouldn't. But this was like extra evidence to show that he was like a fucking idiotic piece of shit. Yeah. So during his initial statement to the police, Anthony said that he had been talking to Gavin and Abby. I don't know why he did that. I don't know why he said anything. But he told the police that like the day before the murder, he talked to Gavin and Abby. So on 18th of May 2001, both Abby and Gavin were brought in for an interview.
this man's a
Within
dumbass.
I'm sorry?
This man's so dumb.
Yeah. Within a few hours, Abby confessed. He said he killed Annie on the instructions of Anthony, and they were gonna record the official statement, but Abby offered to write the statement himself instead. I was initially gonna read it, but it was very long. It's very long, and it contained like mostly stuff I already said. Yeah. So, excuse me. Yeah. So but you can like all the it's online very easily. You can find it very easily. So if you're interested, you can go and read it. Yeah. So it was very damning. Anthony was arrested like that night. So they began the process of recording his official statement, but all he said was, quote, "I have nothing to say now because I am tired." Yeah. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, right. There was some. Okay, so one of the reasons why Abby believed that Anthony believed Anthony when Anthony said like you can get away with it if you just follow my plan was because Anthony had told Abby that he killed for a living.
What?
Huh?
Yeah.
If he killed for a living, why didn't he kill his wife himself?
Because
Exactly.
he would have been the main suspect, and then all his businesses would fall apart.
Yeah, he said all of his failed businesses was a front, and he
So Abby was like, I'm gonna be the hitman's apprentice kind of thing.
Oh God.
I can't say for sure.
Yeah.
It's just yeah. So when Anthony said when Anthony said then I'll kill you with this knife, like Abby very easily believed him lah.
He believed the threat.
Even though he was probably bullshitting. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, the trial for the murder began on 19th of November 2001. The prosecution got all the friends from the group to testify against him, telling the judge he was constantly talking about killing Annie. The mistresses of Anthony also came to testify that he also mentioned killing Annie from time to time. So, the defense, Anthony's defense was basically, it was all a joke. I didn't mean it. Blah blah blah. I didn't expect him to actually kill her. That kind of bullshit.
And then he pressured him into it multiple times, and there were like failed attempts, and he was like, "This time you better get it done," you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So
the
that,
entire
he
time,
played that off as a joke.
Yeah. So when he was like, okay, from the moment the trial started, like from the moment they started taking like photos, like signing all that kind of bullshit, he was smiling the entire time.
Yeah.
Like what Jed said. So during his defense, like when his lawyers were speaking for him when he was testifying, he never stopped smiling. When people were testifying against him, he never stopped smiling. Like he never showed any form of remorse, which is his lawyer later said like it was probably like a defense mechanism, kind of a thing. Yeah. Abby's defense was that he was manipulated and coerced into killing Annie, which means he should not be convicted of murder, but instead of culpable homicide not amounting to murder.
So this is above manslaughter, right? So there's like a middle level.
Yeah, it's a less severe conviction.
Yeah.
Than murder. Yeah.
So this is all like technicalities. This is like lawyers are figuring out what is the best deal that we can get this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kim, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
It's just
You're
depressing.
so quiet.
I'm sad.
Okay, so the trial ended on 5th of December 2001, 7 months after Annie's murder. Anthony was found to be guilty of soliciting and abetting the murder of Annie, and Z was found guilty of murder. So not what the lawyers wanted for Abi. He was found guilty of murder. Anthony was sentenced to death, and since Abi was only 15 at the time, he was ordered to be detained indefinitely at the president's pleasure. So, have you heard of the president's pleasure?
No.
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 Okay, yeah, this was the first time I heard of it too. But the president's pleasure (TPP) was basically a practice of indefinite imprisonment for offenders of capital crime who were below the age of 18. So, basically, they're too young to be put to death. We'll lock their arm forever, that kind of thing, like indefinitely until the president says okay. Yeah, so they could be considered for release after serving at least 13 years, to which the president can decide if they are suitable to be released. But this ended in 2010, and now offenders will be sentenced to life imprisonment and have to serve a minimum of 20 years, even if they're underage. No, they will be, if they're underage, they will be sentenced to life imprisonment and have to serve a minimum of 20 years. Okay, yeah, sorry. So Abi would, in total, will spend about 17 years in prison. During this time, he completed his O levels and A levels, both
In
of which he
prison?
was in prison, and
Wow.
both of which he was the top scorer in prison school.
No, but it's like now is the time to check like how sorry do we feel for him? Because I mean it's like nobody should commit murder, but he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
15, he was like manipulated into it. So I'm not saying that he is like guilty,
Like
and I
fully
think
guilty,
17
but
years
he's
is a good.
definitely not fully innocent.
Yeah, I think 17
but-
years is like a proportionate kind of sentence. But it's also
Well-
like I think he should have a chance after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. During this time, he enrolled in a university. He majored in English and business studies. He earned
Wow.
a degree. He learned how to play the guitar and harmonica in prison. Like
So he was like
doing really
serious
well.
about self-improvement.
He was serious about self-improvement.
Yeah, I mean
And-
that's what the prison system is ultimately supposed to do. It's supposed to rehabilitate people who can be rehabilitated.
Yeah. I have no comment on if that's actually doing his job, but
Yeah,
Uh,
I guess in this isolated case, it is.
so
There's a bigger can of worms,
Not
is it
the
not?
episode.
So Abi was said to have model behavior in prison that inspired other inmates to also like behave themselves.
Oh.
Yeah. His psychiatrist said he was remorseful for what he had done, and he acknowledged that this would be something he will have to struggle with for the rest of his life. So, like, from everything I'm getting, like, he seems to, he's learned his lesson,
Abi has,
in my
yeah,
perspective.
yeah.
His mother, Mrs. Dorcas Lee, like, we have the mother's name.
Yeah. So you can triangulate.
Yeah. She visited her son twice a week in prison. She went back and forth from prison to the university campus to help him submit assignments, and she even represented him during his university orientation so she could tell him exactly what he needed to know for school. In 2013, Abi filed for clemency but was denied by then President Tony Tan. I couldn't find the reason why. Like, it was just like, I served 13 years already, can you let me out? But then Tony Tan was like, no.
Nope.
Nope.
Did he
You're
apply
that
with,
famous murderer guy.
Did he apply with
Yeah?
current president? Did he apply with Halimah Yacob?
Yeah. Then in 2017, he filed for clemency again. But this time, Mrs. Dorcas Lee like spoke publicly for the first time. So this is how we know her name. So she came out in hopes of gaining more support, so that more people would know of her son's situation and advocate for his release. And two ex-inmates of Abi came forward in newspapers to testify for Abi's personality. So on 2nd of November 2018, President Halimah Yacob granted Abi clemency. and he was released on 13th of December 2018. He was 32 years old. He is now 34. Yeah. A gag order on his identity still remains to help him integrate back into society. Yeah, so now he's out there, he's 34, he's living his life.
Yeah.
And if by chance you listen to this
And I guess like most
podcast-
people who meet him on the street wouldn't know that that's
Yeah.
who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, so nobody knows who he is. Until tonight, he's here. Welcome the guest of Nam.
No.
That's a big cat. What are you doing on this show? We don't have any listeners. You have better things to do with your life. You have a degree and shit.
Anthony was hanged on 13 December 2002. Don't know how old he was. Don't really give a fuck about him to find out.
Okay.
Like, I wish
Yeah.
he didn't give, like, because I'm opposed to the death penalty, right? I guess.
Yes,
But like,
yeah.
I wish he suffered in prison. I feel like death was too easy for him.
Because, like, the thing is, like, the death penalty that you apply to the same guy applies to some dude who was poor, so he had to traffic weed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it feels really, it's like unfair. Like, this is this kind of horrible crime is equated to a crime that is relatively not as morally reprehensible.
Totally.
Yeah,
Like,
So
That-
it
there's
feels
like
weird
a-
that there's an
I think that's
they're
the
equal to each
main
other.
position is that the scale feels skewed, right?
like, a lot of people say, like, oh, you traffic drugs, there are repercussions. Like, repercussions should not be death. Like, death should not be the repercussion. Like, I don't know why that's so difficult to understand.
Yeah, like I think on the sliding scale, somebody who traffics drugs has a higher chance of rehabilitation than a murderer.
Yeah.
But then if they have received the same sentence,
Exactly.
that
Like,
seems
it
disproportionate.
doesn't
And I
make
don't think that's a
sense.
controversial statement to say, even, and yet it is.
Yeah. I just find, like, Singapore's war on drugs to be like quite interesting, but
So
War
this is
on
this is
drugs.
where I kind of talk about my connection insofar as there is one.
wait, last paragraph.
Okay.
Okay.
Little is known about Annie's family. An article from the Straits Times, which was premium, so I had to get this information from Wikipedia that extracted the info from Straits Times, stated that during the time of Abi's release, Annie's parents still lived in the same house. And that's where they raised Evelyn, who in 2018 was a university undergraduate.
So she's out there and she's living her life.
Yeah, little information is known about her. We don't know if she changed her name, how she's doing, which honestly is fine with me lah. Like, leave the girl alone. She's been through enough. And that is the murder of Annie Leong Wai Mun.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a lot to unpack.
Process.
Yeah. Oh my god, I went on for over an hour.
Yeah. So I guess it's a bit silly. My great uncle, my grand uncle, that means my grandma's brother, he was a prison minister. So
Oh.
he prayed with Anthony Ler before he was killed. Before he
Oh.
was
Oh my god.
was executed. Yeah. So I think I've asked him a little bit about his job. There's a lot he can't say.
Yeah.
But he talked about, like, a long time ago I wrote a play called Last Meals, and the play was sort of centered around, like, what are the last meals that different inmates would have, and there was a little bit of a commentary on the death penalty as well. And there was like, part of it was based on how in Singapore apparently there's a limit on how much you can spend on your last meal, and that's like $12 or something like that. So I don't know whether
Oh,
or
that's
not
right.
that has changed.
That's
But
ridiculous.
Yeah. So you can, the last meal that you eat that costs $12, and I think that was something my grand uncle told me. So he's retired; he doesn't do this job anymore. But yeah, he used to
what
spend
did
his.
what did Anthony eat?
I don't know. I don't
Oh.
know. I don't know if I asked him what Anthony Ler ate. But
McDonald's.
yeah, so proudly sponsored by.
Promo code soft. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, like I remember, in America, they do very very big last meals. They used to, at least, like, it was
Yeah,
like
that
lobster.
you can literally ask
you
for anything.
you can have like a KFC bucket meal and stuff.
Yeah, there was a photo exhibit that I saw, I think, at an Esplanade in the tunnel underground, leading into the Esplanade. They used that to host temporary art exhibits. And it was like mugshots of death row inmates in the US next to pictures of their last meal. And that kind of gave me the inspiration to write that play.
Yeah.
So this was the play, Kim, that I sent you the article about.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's another story for another
Why you all
That's-
say
that's
stuff
for
to each
another
other
day.
without me one?
I think it was.
We
I was
have a
talking
group
about
chat
like,
for what?
I was talking
Oh, no,
about
this
my
is like-
my trauma, my school trauma. And this
Yeah,
kind
he
of
was talking about
Oh,
some
yeah.
school trauma thing.
Yeah.
But
I mean it's okay. I mean like I'm not good. I'm not a good texter.
I mean, because I remember someone saying like, okay, because the famous inmates last meal one, right? It was mostly serial killers and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
people were saying if their final victims didn't get to eat like the last meal that they wanted, why should we give them a last meal? But then you think about the death penalty in the context of Singapore and the kind of people who get put on death penalty, not only horrible murderers like this, but some guy who desperately needs money and ends up trafficking weed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
It's very
just
different.
different.
Yeah.
There's no way to not look at it objectively, and I think that's kind of the frustrating thing, and it feels like in many ways Singapore is stuck, and it feels like it's stuck because of an insistence of these are the things that work when
Yeah.
it does not. Like the results
It
show
really
that
doesn't.
it's not having that effect that you think that it is having, and yet you're like, this is what works, we'll keep doing this until the end of time. And it isn't only in this area, and it isn't only in kind of like a crime and punishment and politics and stuff. It just suffused throughout Singapore, where Singapore is very good at giving the image of change, but things don't actually change. And I think this is something that we talked about on Frustration Nation, on the earlier incarnation of this podcast, when we discussed that whole thing about the non-essential artists, and it was the underlying attitudes that Singapore has towards art, and you can kind of track that and draw a line all through the different facets, because from the outside Singapore looks real great, right? Crazy Rich Asians looks real great. And then like William Gibson, the science fiction author, he famously wrote this article in the 90s called Disneyland with the Death Penalty, and that was how he described Singapore. Yeah. So a lot of people are still very hung up on that, pun not intended. But yeah, so it's, I think that's one of the things that we are reckoning with right now, and it's kind of like, how openly can we talk about it? And I guess it is more openly than we used to be able to, and the fact that a movie like Apprentice could even get made, I think is good.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back a little bit to the case and talk about, okay, the Singapore dream and this ideal image of Singapore. So, Jed, just now you brought up that it felt like, this was kind of like the entitlement of a man who thought that, by this age in this country, he should have gotten all these things. And that feeling like kind of spiraled out of control. I also see at the same time this fantasy gone wrong, like this delusion of grandeur, as if he was living in a movie where ultimately he could pull this off, he could get away with everything,
that you could write the ending.
Yeah, and that he could be like he could manipulate some kid into doing all of this for him, and he was like a master hitman in his own head. That's why he was buying all these knives, and the kid was his little acolyte. And at the end of the day, it's almost like he wanted to play this, I don't know what to call it even.
At the end, like, he wanted to push out the image that he was a man trying his best, and that he was remorseful.
Was he?
I don't know. He wanted to paint that image. We all know that he was not.
But
He wanted, because when he faked cried fake cry.
Fake cried. I don't know.
He fake cried.
Cried.
Okay,
Yeah.
I said faked cry, but it's fake cried. Yeah, you're right.
Attorneys General.
Attorney General. When he fake cried, he was all like, I was a terrible husband, I did this, I did that, but I loved her, that kind of stuff. He wanted to show like in the end he was a family man. So in a sense, I guess he played in a little bit.
Yeah,
To
it's
his
all these like images, fantasies, like I am a family man, I am a slave mistress having man, I am also a hitman. It's just like, it just feels so, I don't know, there's a
delusion of grandeur.
that this one guy's obsession with himself has kind of like spiraled out into this vortex and dragged so many people down with it. And just the Abi character, like that guy who in the end was the one who did the actual murder, and the way that he manipulated this kid, like there's something so scary about that. Like you know that you're doing something wrong. You see like just another kid there, she's with like her little daughter, and somehow because you want to prove to this man who's essentially trapped you in some sort of hateful death cult where he wants you to take revenge for him on his wife, and then being manipulated and scared into it. And just
like he obviously didn't want to do it. Like he showed multiple times that like he didn't want to do it. And then eventually Anthony just pushed and eventually like he just did it all.
And the thing is that like Annie Leong seemed like a nice person. I don't know. She seemed like someone who really just wanted to, I am not going to bother with this toxic man anymore. I am going to move back to my mom's house and be like, you know, like one of those like hyper competent kind of insurance agent people. She was gonna take care of her daughter alone, but at the same time, just she wasn't somebody who was unreasonable like Anthony claimed she was. She was like, okay, fine, you know, if you wanna like turn up for my daughter, I'll let you turn up and we can go out for dinner.
And he gave him so many chances.
Yeah,
right?
Seemed like such like a mature person through her actions, with like her head on her shoulders, and end up with this delusional fuck.
Yeah.
It's so upsetting. And
It's
just the
heartbreaking.
way that she had to pass away with this man in the ambulance who's known her since she was a kid, basically, from a church, and in the end he's like still trying to be charming for the cameras. Just
It's so
somebody
gross.
so obsessed with himself and image and the dream, you know.
Like that's why I wanted to call this the murder of Annie Leong Wai Mun.
Rather than naming him in it, because I honestly didn't remember the name, didn't remember Annie's name, but I remembered the murderers. And I think that's how it is for a lot of these cases. And I just thank you so much for doing the research and for laying the story out for us straight, because I did not realize like how truly heartbreaking this was. Like I knew it was sad, especially because there was a young child involved, but I did not know all of the details and the ins and outs of like him having two like affairs and then her coming back and then like him grooming this 15-year-old kid. So there's just so much which just makes it so bad.
What you all said, like this is a problem like for a lot of these murder cases, like especially also in the US when there's like a shooting, they always tend to focus on the perpetrator.
Right, and the perpetrator, a lot of the times their goal is to self-mythologize.
Exactly, they wanted to they wanted to have some recognition. They wanted to be what's that word?
Immortalized? No.
They want the notoriety, the infamy.
Yes.
Yes.
Notoriety.
Yay,
That's
I
what
am a
they wanted.
writer.
Yay.
I'm useful.
Yeah. So whenever I talk about like murders, like or like I really like enjoy it when documentaries and like podcasts, they talk about the victims more. And I wish I could find more information on Annie, but like it just isn't available.
I mean, because I have been scouring the Googles. It seems like Annie's family kind of just doesn't want too much attention
Yeah.
anymore
Yeah.
regarding the case, especially considering there's somebody like the daughter is like, same age as us. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And having to have gone through all of that so young.
Exactly.
So just to leave them alone, and I don't know.
Yeah, so if you take away anything from this story, just remember like Annie was all in all like a really great person, and like it was very heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this was like, this case did receive a lot of attention, a lot of media attention, and I think
On Anthony's side, yeah.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where it's just like, it's very dramatic and it's very tragic, but it's also not like a ludicrous scenario. Like this scenario, and especially the ways in which Anthony messed up, the mistakes that he made, and kind of the way that he groomed it was a power thing, right? It was like, I have these teenagers who look up to me, and I'm their leader. And I'm gonna
Finally,
lead
you have
them.
something in your life you can control.
Yes,
Oh, God.
finally,
Exactly.
like,
It
there's
was
power.
all of those things, yes.
And
Yes.
it's so sad that that he ends up ruining these kids' lives. He ends up, in addition to ruining his child's life, in addition to murdering his wife, and it's just that the sphere ripples out in a way that we don't see on the ground until later. And yeah, it's kind of, and especially to think that his daughter was the same age that both of you are, right, Kim and Drake, and to imagine like what must that have been like growing up knowing that your dad got your mom killed.
Exactly. And I bet like during the time when he was like crying like on camera and all that, when he was controlling basically like the media on his side, I bet he felt great.
But he
Like-
felt like he got away with it.
He felt like he was in control. He felt like he got away with it. He probably thought like he was like the smartest person in the world when the police were behind like gathering evidence against him.
Yeah, just because when it comes to these kinds of cases, I really don't see any way that he could be sympathetic to an audience at all. So bad. And I want to also go back to this because I think sometimes I think we have a tendency to kind of like mythologize killers.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's inherently dramatic, isn't it?
spooky man kill people, but a lot of the times serial killers aren't as common as pop culture would make them out to be. And oftentimes, like, well, for example with this, there's so many like little pieces of evidence here and there that just point to this was just a very morally reprehensible man with bad planning and like no impulse control, like no foresight whatsoever, and a lot of entitlement. Not some evil genius who was like forcing people and whatnot,
Not overtly violent.
No.
Not
So it almost seemed like he wanted to stage this murder to be almost like a character, an actor of all sorts, and especially and like to finally get that bread, you know, to get that money and have done something with his life. Well, no, just stop it.
Yeah, and it's that whole thing of like the collapse of the Singaporean dream and the feeling of by this age I should have accomplished XYZ. And I think like it's important to kind of normalize failure, that failure is okay, and we know that the difficulty of that is that most people don't have a safety net, most people don't have a fallback plan, and so when something implodes, when there's a business that they've sunk off their money into and it doesn't work once or twice or three times, then it's like this is the end of the road. And he was suicidal, like he tried to commit suicide. So I think there's an element of this where the expectations that we have of ourselves and expectations that kind of Singaporeans have of themselves within a mainstream framework can come around and kind of like bite you in the ass, you know. And I'm not saying that to absolve him of anything, but this was like an extreme case where his existing kind of tendencies acted in concert with that, in concert with those societal expectations, and drove him into this place.
Yeah, maybe if he had gotten more financial help. Okay, I don't think so actually. I think he would have fucked the money up at some point also.
Yeah,
And
because it's
he
like
was a
that
terrible
capability
husband.
was always there, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And he just seems like a terrible dude.
All around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like in a Singapore context where we have a generally low crime rate and we have a generally low kind of serious crime rate, when something like this happens, it really takes the entire nation by storm. And there's a part of it that sort of captures people's imaginations, and like you were saying about the reenactment, like there's an element of it that can get kind of lurid or maybe like exploitative, but this was just sad.
Yeah.
Like
It's true story, sad.
Like to the extent that there's like a quote unquote juicy element to it, it is negated by its sadness, you know.
It is.
Yeah, like the media mostly played up like he's acting, he's crying, he's smiling, but underneath all that was like this really like sad, broken family.
Yeah. That it's like a failure, you know.
I don't know how to end this.
Well,
stay safe. Don't marry people you meet at church when you're 15.
and if anybody tries to convince you to do a murder, don't. Especially if they tell you that you can get away with it. At 15, don't.
Never follow a murderer to a second McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly.
If a creep starts hanging up at your local McDonald's, find a
Change the
different
McDonald's.
and telling you that he wants to murder his wife.
Yeah,
do
then
not
call
hang
the
Go
out.
police.
somewhere else. Because the entire nature of McDonald's is that as a chain restaurant, there's supposed to be an amount of quality control between each outlet that you can't super tell the difference.
Also, like, if someone tells you like consistently they want to kill their wife, call the fucking police.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like-
not a joke.
Even if
Trust
the person
your
is not
gut.
going to kill the person they say they're going to kill, like,
Yeah.
there's no harm to it. At most, you prevent a murder.
Yeah.
At the least, it's just like, oh, sorry, but no harm. Like, call police first, apologize later.
You know, I mean, like, while this person hasn't caused any harm to others yet, maybe that's saying such things as it's like a sign of things kind of going downhill, just emotionally and stuff. And just when I think like another important thing is like you shouldn't do things to prove bravado, because I think at the end of the day, like
Who are you
Sure,
approving
having
it to,
gu-
right? Yeah.
having guts is important in certain situations, but sometimes you really just gotta listen to it and chicken out.
And say, nope, you gotta nope out, you know, like that gif of Ein, the corgi, hopping away in Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
Nope.
if sometimes if they ask you
Yeah,
to go
seriously,
hard
go
or
home.
go home, go home.
Right.
Just go
Like,
home.
rarely anything good comes out of going hard. I should know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
when it's
What?
no,
No.
sorry, you go first, kid.
I was thinking about that. I mean, a little bit inappropriate to bring it up at this time, but there's this clip from America's Next Top Model where this
Oh yeah, I
girl,
remember
she's
this.
like, she walks in and then like she tells Tyra, "I'm leaving. I can't take it. The pressure's too much. I'm not cut out for this. Sorry." Then Tyra's like, "But what if but every job has pressure," and then she just walks out. And then like at the time, interestingly enough, at the time in the 2000s when she did this, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, what kind of an attitude is it?" But now they're like, "Okay, good for her.
Exactly.
She knows what's good for herself." You know, because it was like a stressful as hell competition. People got hypothermia. People almost fell into fire. Things like that. Yeah. So trust that. Take care of
Like, know your boundaries, know
yourself
your
and
limits. Listen to
friends.
your gut. Yeah.
A life is
Yeah.
a life. A life is a life, guys. Not a story, not some character that somebody else makes up to you, and you don't have the right to take that away from somebody. And I guess at 15, I don't know.
We are at like 1 hour and 30 minutes.
So many things.
We should probably end this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
we are going to end this now.
yeah. So thank you, Drake. The first Drake-led episode of Soft Serve, and yeah, this is a case that I remember, but there's a lot of it that I didn't know, and thank you for walking us through it. And I hope that even as we have tried to make jokes here and there and not make the whole thing a depressing thing to listen to, that we have been respectful and that we have considered, you know, the real people who are involved in this and not treated it just as a spectacle, which I think is something that I'm wary about with a lot of true crime content. So that was something I was trying to police myself over as we recorded this, and I hope we did
Yeah,
a
I
good
think we
enough
did
job
good.
with that. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for listening. The next episode will, I don't know.
Surprise us.
It's a Kim episode
We'll
next.
see. It'll be a surprise.
Bye.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.